Yo, 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 what is going on, everybody? How's everybody doing today? Welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Crypto with your host, Jay from Bitcoin Daily. Hope everybody's doing great today. Hope everyone had a great weekend. It has been a crazy few days, guys. It has been a crazy week, really. Everything that has been going on in the market with the SEC going basically after everybody. Last week they went after Binance on Monday. They went after Coinbase on Tuesday. Then they also went after a total of, I think, 19 different cryptocurrencies, including Solana, including, what else was it? Cardano, Polygon Matic, and a bunch of others as well. So it's been a crazy few days, a crazy week really, and we've seen it in the markets. We've seen coins like in the top 100 market cap down 20 to 30% in the last 7 days. So it's definitely been a huge sell-off in altcoins because there's a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt in altcoins right as of this moment right now. Especially in the three coins that I just mentioned, Solana, Matic, and Cardano, because those specifically are also being now delisted by Robinhood, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in today's live stream. But let's start off with the overall prices. We're going to take a look at the prices here today. We're going to take a look at the economic calendar for the week, guys. It's going to be an insane week. If you thought last week was crazy, this week it has the potential to be an even crazier week. So we'll cover up what we have coming up this week. We have three potential big events this week. We're going to go over the news update, what's going on overall with everything that happened last week, basically. And then we're going to end it with, of course, a market analysis where I kind of look at Bitcoin's price and, give some ideas of how to play, how I'm going to be personally looking to play. And we'll end it with a live Q&A. So if you guys have any questions about anything that we cover in today's video, if you're watching live, drop it in the comments. I'll be more than happy to answer those for you guys. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into the price. So the first thing that we're looking at here is, of course, Bitcoin, currently sitting at $25,824. So pretty much been consolidating here over the weekend. We consolidated in the same range, and today pretty much just kind of stuck here. The market, I'm sure, is going to be unsure of what to expect this week, right? And we'll talk about starting tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. why it's going to be important and why probably most people are sitting on the sidelines kind of waiting for a direction here, trying to figure out what's going on in the market overall, right? So that's currently where we're sitting. And if you take a look here on the right hand side, I got some of the altcoins here. You can see for the most part, everything is pretty much in the red, as we can see here. We do have a few that are green. We have Sui here that's green today, but everything's pretty much in the red. Bitcoin's pretty much flat on the day. It's had a high of today of 26,100 and a low of 25,600. So it's been pretty slow week so far. Well, pretty slow Monday compared to last week's Monday. Last week's Monday we had a 5% drop off. If we look back here, last week on Monday we had a 5% drop. Then last week Tuesday we had basically a 6% pump right back up. And then on Wednesday another 3.5% drop. Then Thursday, Friday it was pretty much just kind of flat. And then Saturday, 2.5% drop. So it was definitely an eventful week as far as volatility. So if you're trading volatility, definitely a lot of opportunity there for you guys. But we're stuck in a range, right? So if we look at the weekly here, we see the last 2 weeks have been minus 3.5 and minus 4.5. And then this week we're down we're pretty much flat on the week so far to start it off. Now, one main thing that we did lose here was the 200-week moving average. So we'll take a look at that when I do the market analysis here. But that's just kind of something to take into account here. Let's look at the rest of the crypto market, see what is going on all around the world of cryptocurrencies. So you can see for the most part in the last 24 hours, and if you're watching this, if you're just listening, you're not watching, I'll describe it for you, don't worry. For the most part, the majority of things are in the red. We do have a few here in the last 24 hours that are green. We have Cardano up 2%. XRP is pretty much flat, up 0.3% in the last 24 hours. You can see Bitcoin's down 0.6%, so pretty much flat. Ethereum down about 1%. And if we just keep scrolling down, you'll see a lot of things are flat with a few outliers. Now, if we look at the 7 days, in the last 7 days, what's been going on in the markets, this really starts to show what's going on overall. We can see that Bitcoin is actually in the green, 0.3%. So not much. It's pretty much flat, but it is green, which is something important to note. And Ethereum is down about 4%, right, in the last week. And the reason that these are important to know is because then when we look at the rest of the crypto market, we'll see the next biggest altcoin in the crypto market is Binance Coin, down 17%. We have XRP. So XRP, remember, it has a few things coming up. They've been getting bullish news as far as the case against the SEC. So the XRP in the last 7 days is actually up 3%. But that's pretty much it as far as the coins that are up in the last 7 days. Cardano's down 21%. Dogecoin down 7%. Tron down 10%. Solana down 24%. Polygon down 25%. Right? Litecoin down 11%. Polkadot down 10%. So we're just getting all these coins, all these altcoins are down big. Avalanche down 18%. Shiba Inu down 17%. So we can see that a lot of these coins have been bleeding out over the last week. And you know, the reason is because of what's going on and what happened last week with the SEC naming a bunch of these cryptos securities, right? And basically they've even gone as far as to say that they consider everything a security except Bitcoin, right? But if you guys remember, probably about a month ago, when Gary Gensler, the head of the SEC, was in front of Congress, I believe, and they asked him, is Ethereum a security? He could not answer that question, and he beat around the bush, basically. He would not directly answer that question. And you know, they kept asking him, why don't you just give me a direct answer whether or not Ethereum is a security? And he kept saying that he didn't want to specify on just one cryptocurrency. But then they're like, well, you already said that Bitcoin is not a security. So if you already replied about one specific coin, why don't you just give us another, the second biggest crypto in the market, Ethereum? Can you tell us? And he would not answer if Ethereum was or was not a security. But they have mentioned in the past that they consider everything but Bitcoin a security, basically. All right, let's take a look at the overall market in the past week. If you're tuning in live here, you can see I'm looking at cryptobubbles.net right now, and it gives you an idea of how the overall market is doing. And as you guys can see, there's a lot of red bubbles. So, and if we take a look at the top gainers and losers, this is pretty crazy because there's really not much gainers. The biggest gainer in the last 7 days is XRP, up 3%. And then there's BitGet token up 2%, Gate up 1%, and that's pretty much it. Bitcoin, it's popping. Bitcoin's popping up here at 0%. Bitcoin is considered a top gainer and it's flat. It's at 0.0%. So that's pretty funny. Top losers, as you guys can see here, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of top losers, starting with Chili's, which is down 29.7% in the last 7 days. Sandbox down 28%, Decentraland's down 28%, Axie Infinity down 27%, Flow down 26%. We already spoke about Polygon and Solana, but how about Aptos down 24%? So there's definitely been a lot of projects just bleeding out over the last 7 days. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the economic calendar here. And see what we have coming up this week. As I already told you guys in the beginning of this the live stream, it is going to be a volatile week. There's a lot going on. So let's go ahead and dive into the calendar here. So the first thing that we're going to run into this week will be tomorrow morning, bright and early, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will get the data for inflation. So inflation rate reports are coming out tomorrow. Now, this is very important. Remember, let me pull up some numbers here as far as CPI data. So CPI, until last month, CPI was the biggest thing, basically rolling and igniting the rally in Bitcoin and basically all cryptocurrencies. In January, on the week of CPI data, Bitcoin moved up 24%. In February, on the week of CPI data, Bitcoin went up 14%. March, Bitcoin went up 25% during the CPI week. April, Bitcoin went up 9.7% during the week of CPI. The last month was the first time that Bitcoin did not go up this year on the week of CPI. And that was because there was just a lot of bearish talk from I think the overall markets, as far as the overall Fed. I think during that week there was a lot of talk that they were going to raise interest rates, and it wasn't a big move, right? In as far as the inflation report. So last month, in April, inflation went down from 6 to 5%, and last month the report came out a drop from 5% to 4.9%. So people weren't very excited about a 0.1% drop off in inflation month over month, right? And maybe that's why. So in May, Bitcoin actually lost 5.44% during the week of CPI. However, if we look again at April, we came in at 4.9%, right? The consensus was 5%, so we beat consensus barely, but we beat it. Because the previous was 5%, consensus was at 5%, and we ended up going lower. So we have kept our streak alive. We've gone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 months in a row of the inflation decreasing every single month, right? Now we're expecting more of the same come tomorrow morning. So right now, as you know, last month it came in at 4.9%. while it was expected to come in at 5%. This month, tomorrow, we are expected, consensus is at 4.1%. So that's a 0.8% drop off, right? That is the consensus. The last time that we had a consensus this big was in March, where the previous inflation numbers came in at 6%. Consensus was at 5.2%, and we actually came in at 5%. So we beat consensus in March. And in March, we had a plus 25% week, right? So Bitcoin's price went up 25% in March when we basically dropped by a whole percentage. Now it looks like there's a potential to set up for the same type of data tomorrow. So we're at 4.9%. and it's expected to drop off 0.8%, just like it was expected in March. So that's something interesting to note. Can we drop that full 0.8% or more? I think so. I think the consensus has been pretty spot on over the last, maybe it's been 10 months, right? It's been pretty spot on. So there's definitely the possibility where we drop to 4.1% or maybe even lower than 4.1%, and we start to the bulls take over again, as far as in the markets and in the prices. So the traditional markets are pretty much, they have been very, very bullish over the last week or so. And Bitcoin has not been correlating with the traditional markets at all because of so much news that we've had coming out. So, maybe this is what can get things back on track with the traditional markets, because traditional markets have been going up. Last week it had a very bullish week. This week it started already very green, and they're expecting, like I said, inflation to continue to drop here, and you can see that in the consensus here. So that's definitely something interesting to take a look at, and let's see if we can hit that consensus. You can see that the trading economics forecast here, which is this website, I'm not sure exactly how they make these forecasts, but they're forecasting a 4.3% for the inflation numbers. Last month they got it correct. The consensus was at 5%. They had a forecast of 4.9%, and it came in at 4.9. But the month before that, when the consensus was at 5.2%, they had a forecast of 5.3%, and inflation came in at 5%. So they were off further than consensus at that point. So I wouldn't be surprised if we possibly see something like that again. So now that's just tomorrow, right? That's just Tuesday. So we're not even going into Wednesday yet. There's one more thing that is happening on Tuesday. Now, this is not part of the economic calendar, but this is part of an event that could potentially stir the pot for the crypto markets. And that is going to be, let me see, it's this right here. The Hinman documents. Okay, Hinman documents. So what are the Hinman documents? So the Hinman documents are basically, it was I want to see a speech by a previous, he was the director of the SEC's Corporation Finance Division from 2017 through 2020. His name was William Hinman, and in a now controversial speech given in 2018, Hinman spoke about how decentralization impacts Ethereum and Bitcoin's regulatory classification, and reportedly indicated that the SEC did not consider two crypto assets as securities at the time. So, because of that, the SEC actually tried to seal those documents from the Hinman speech. They did not want those documents involved in the Ripple versus SEC case. They wanted them sealed and kept out of that case. And, Ripple won in that. Ripple got them so that they can be released and not be sealed. So now they can use them in the case against the SEC, which is going to be big, right? Because you can see here that the SEC has until June 13th to provide all the unredacted emails of Hinman's internal communications, right? So now the SEC has to release Hinman's internal communications by tomorrow. Tomorrow's that date where it has to be released by. And this could, favor not only Ripple, but cryptocurrency in overall. So if this is, now we don't know exactly what's going to be released there, but if this is something that's, if the SEC redacted a lot of that communication, the internal communication about this, this could be big for crypto overall, right? And not only could it be big for Ripple in its case against the SEC, but it could be huge for all the cryptocurrencies announced by the SECs to be securities. So that could be huge for Cardano, Polygon, Solana, and the other cryptocurrencies. Not only that, but that could be huge also for Binance, because the SEC is going after Binance and Coinbase because they're listing quote unquote securities, right? So now Binance is a little bit different because that's just one of the things that they're suing Binance over and going after Binance over. So that's just one of the things. So even if they were to even if that part helped them, they still have a bunch of other charges going on. So that case is a bit more complicated. But Coinbase, they're only going after Coinbase because they're quote unquote allegedly they're selling securities, right? So something like this could be huge for Ripple and the Coinbase case. So that's something that we're going to be looking forward to tomorrow, as well as the CPI data. So two big things, right, coming tomorrow with that. Now, that's just Tuesday, guys. We're just getting the week started. That's just Tuesday. Then we're going into Wednesday. What's going on Wednesday? Wednesday is the Fed interest rate decision. So you can see here the Fed interest rate decision is going to be at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Before that, there's also PPI month-over-month data that's going to be coming out. I don't expect that to really cause any type of volatility. Maybe very, very small moves in that initial first hour where the report comes out. Maybe, but it's not something I'm really going to be paying too much attention to. I think the CPI data is going to be way more important. Fed interest rate decision is going to be way more important. So as you can see right now, if you can't see it, I'll spell it out for you. Right now, our interest rates are at 5.25%. Consensus is that there will be a pause, and it will stay at 5.25%. So the reason this is important is because that'll be the first time that we pause in over a year. Let me see. Let me see how far back I can go in this chart to see. Yeah. So this will probably be the first time that we get a pause in over a year. So this is big news, right? This is big, potentially something big. And if we look here at the target rate probabilities for Wednesday's Fed rate decision, you can see, let me refresh it just to update that number. There's a 75.8% probability of a pause from the Fed on Wednesday. So what this tells us is that the market is expecting a pause in interest rates, right? We're not expecting another hike on Wednesday. Now, this is good and bad, right? It's good if we get a pause, it's going to be amazing, right? I'm sure prices are going to go up that day, and we can expect a very green, very overall bullish week. Maybe even because of this event, we can expect an overall green month, right? After a pretty slow May. However, if the Fed do raise interest rates, then we could see a very big dump off for the rest of the week. So one thing I always tell you guys, one thing that I always say constantly whenever we come to these things is that the market does not like to be wrong, right? The market likes to predict and front run what they believe is going to happen. And if they're wrong, they do not like it. They get very upset. They take their ball and they go home, basically. So if the Fed raise interest rates and the overall market is wrong, then they're going to have to price in that interest rate hike, which the market's been slowly pricing in a pause, and it'll send prices down, right? Because they're not priced in. What's priced in right now is a pause. So this is gonna be big, guys. This is gonna be big. This is on Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have the official decision, the interest rate hike decision, and then at 2:30 p.m. we have the Fed chair, Jerome Powell. He's going to be doing a speech. He does a speech for about half an hour or so, and he talks about what was discussed, what led them to this decision, and what their overall outlook is on the market right now. So, and the thing is, over the last few weeks, they have been in both directions, right? And I've been talking about this. 1 week they were saying how they were going to raise interest rates, and they kept saying it over and over and over. They're going to raise interest rates because inflation was coming in too hot still. So they were going to raise interest rates. Then the following week, then they were talking about, maybe it's time for a pause, because raising interest rates are causing a lot of stress on banks. So that's what then this probability went from pricing in an interest rate hike, another interest rate hike, it went from that to pricing in a pause. So which way are they gonna go? We have no idea, because they came out 1 week they said one thing, the next week they said another thing. Which way they're gonna go, we don't know. So that's something to keep in mind if you're trying to trade this. Use very, very small positions. Make sure to use risk management. You don't want to get caught on the wrong end of this when the news comes out. So be very careful with that, guys. Let me see. And those are the main things coming out. So that's the main things coming out this week as far as the economic calendar. Right, we have the CPI, we have the Hinman documents. That's not part of the economic calendar, but I'm considering it part of the crypto economic calendar, because that could play a big role in all cases versus the SEC. And then the Fed interest rate decision is the last thing on Wednesday. We do have, let me see, is there anything else here on the economic calendar this week? We have a few other things on Thursday: retail sales month over month, and then on Friday, Michigan consumer sentiment. Again, those are not really going to affect the market much. I'm not expecting anything crazy from those events, so I'm not even going to really talk about them. So let's move on. Let's continue to the next thing here. Let's jump into some news. We have a lot of news here, so we've already touched on a lot of the news actually, but we'll just kind of go over it here. And again, guys, after this, we'll jump into a Bitcoin price analysis and a live Q&A. So if you guys are tuning in live, make sure to drop your questions in the comments, and I'm going to go over them at the end of this, okay? At the end of the live stream. So, let's jump into the news. So the first thing is the SEC versus everybody, right? SEC is going after everybody, is going after anything that has to do with crypto, and we're the ones suffering for it, right? Retail investors are the ones suffering for the SEC doing this. As the SEC is always saying that they're trying to protect the people, this and that, right? Yet they're causing massive sell-offs in cryptocurrencies because of these actions that they're taking right now. They're basically overly aggressively attacking, putting an attack on crypto right now, and causing losses, massive losses to the same people that they're saying that they're trying to protect. So let's take a look here. The first thing, of course, is Robinhood to delist Cardano, Polygon, and Solana. So this came in as big news, of course, because Robinhood, they hold, I believe, let me see if they have a number here, but I believe it was somewhere around the 1.2, 1.3 billion dollar range for these three projects, as far as what they had to hold, or either what they were holding, what their users were holding, right? So what that means is that as you can see here, support for the three digital assets is set to end on June 27th, which is the deadline for user activity. So following the deadline, the company stated that any Cardano, Matic, and Solana still in your Robinhood crypto account will be sold for market value, and the proceeds will be credited to your Robinhood buying power. So what that means, if you don't do anything by the 27th of this month, anyone that hasn't done anything with those cryptos are gonna be forced sold, right? They're gonna close those positions. So we can see why, if they're holding $1.3 billion worth of Cardano, Matic, and Solana, and any part of that gets forced, and let's say a majority of that gets, there's a forced sell on it by the 27th, then that's going to put a lot of sell pressure to the downside. So that's why you're seeing Cardano, Matic, and Solana down 20, 25, 30% over the last week, because people are if they're on Robinhood and they have those on Robinhood, they might be selling already. Leading up to the 27th, there might be more and more people selling, and then on the 27th, Robinhood is going to close everyone's positions in those coins that haven't sold. So one thing to note, if you have your crypto in Robinhood, if you have Cardano, Solana, Matic, you don't have to sell. If you want to keep that crypto, if you don't want to sell, let's say if you're in a loss, you probably shouldn't sell. If you want to keep that crypto, you can transfer it from your Robinhood wallet to a different wallet. So if you have, wallet on Coinbase, or Gemini, whatever it is, KuCoin maybe, you can get that crypto, move it out of Robinhood without having to sell it into, whatever other wallet you want to send it to. So keep that in mind. If you don't want to sell your crypto and you have it in Robinhood, for example, I have some on Robinhood. You can move it out of there, and that's what I'm doing with my crypto that's on Robinhood. So something to keep in mind, guys. You don't have to sell. So that's the first big thing, right? That was in the news over the last week. And after that was announced, right? Polygon, Solana, and Cardano all came out and responded to the allegations from the SEC, dismissing them, right? Saying that they're not securities. So, and you can see that the Solana Foundation wants to work on establishing clear regulations, right? And does not agree that Solana is a security. Polygon, let me see what Polygon said. Matic was a necessary part of the Polygon technology from day one, ensuring that the network would be secure and remains so to this day. Given our focus on network security, we made sure Matic was available to a wide group of persons, but only with actions that did not target the U.S. at any time. And that's basically what the statement says. So everyone is disagreeing, of course, that they're not, and they're saying that they're not a security. So we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. But there's basically going to be cases, it seems like, ongoing with Matic, Solana, and Cardano, which joins in on Ripple. So that's why I'm saying Ripple's case against the SEC is huge for the overall crypto industry, because if XRP wins, basically any other coin that the SEC tries to go after can use XRP's case to prove that they're also not a security if they're similar to XRP, right? And at that point, the SEC, I'm sure, is probably going to stop. It's going to have to stop going after cryptocurrencies. Gary Gensler might even get fired at that point if he loses the case against XRP, because if he loses that case, that means he's also probably going to lose any other case against any other crypto tokens. Also, potentially lose the case against Coinbase, because now they're no longer selling securities, and lose parts of the case against Binance. So it's a huge case, guys, something that everyone should be paying attention to. Now, next is on our news is Binance US suspends USD deposits amidst SEC lawsuit, right? So they're suspending all USD deposits, and I believe they're also suspending withdrawals. So you can no longer, deposit USD in Binance US. And that has to do, of course, with the with what's been going on with the SEC. And they said in their statement, they said that the SEC has taken to using extremely aggressive and intimidating tactics in its pursuit of an ideological campaign against the American digital asset industry. Binance US and our business partners have not been spared in the use of these tactics, and which has created basically a lot of chaos, right? So that's something that's going to be happening as well. And I think they said that if you have any USD to withdraw it by June 13th, so that would be tomorrow. So by June 13th, make sure to either withdraw it or exchange it for something else if you have it on Binance US. What else is going on? The SEC chair, of course, Gary Gensler, says that crypto frenzy is full of hucksters and scam artists. The SEC chair publicly shared his disdain for crypto and the frenzy around it many times before. Speaking remotely at the Piper Sandler Global Exchange and FinTech conference in New York City, Gensler doubled down on his opinion, saying most crypto tokens are securities and come under the purview of the SEC. So it feels like a vendetta, right? It feels like he's out for revenge, like if the crypto industry did something to him. And at first I didn't get it. I was like, why is this guy that just a few years back in 2018, he was at MIT, right? This guy, Gary Gensler, was at MIT. He was a professor at MIT teaching people about cryptocurrency. He would even promote and shill Algorand, right? So I don't get it. I don't get what is going on, or I didn't get it. What was going on with Gary Gensler and why he was so aggressively against crypto and, going after crypto. But then I read something and it all started to make sense. And that's this right here. Binance lawyers say SEC Chair Gensler applied for advisor role in 2019. So this makes things a little interesting, right? The allegations come as a surprise, and it says here Gary Gensler applied to serve as an advisor for Binance in 2019 before becoming SEC chair, the court filings say. So now this becomes interesting. Did they reject him from the position, and now he has this vendetta against crypto because of that, and specifically against Binance, right? Things are getting pretty interesting. And according to the lawyers, Gensler was teaching at MIT at the time, and documents filed for the lawsuit by the SEC Wednesday indicate the accusation from Gibson, Dunn, and Latham and Watkins, two of Binance's law firms. According to them, Gensler offered to serve as an advisor to the crypto exchange in March 2019 in several conversations with Binance and founder CZ, as well as executives of the exchange. And he eventually met CZ in Japan for lunch later that month. So that's what the reports say. So this is it's pretty interesting. The attorney says that CZ continues to stay in touch with Gensler after the March meeting. Also, at the future SEC chair's request, CZ sat down for an interview with Gensler as part of a cryptocurrency course he taught at MIT. Then later in 2019, the filings read that Gensler was set to testify before the House Financial Services Committee. It is alleged that he sent CZ a copy of his intended testimony ahead of the hearing. So, this is definitely very interesting information that's now coming to light. So it seems like he has something. There's something behind this attack on crypto here that now is starting to come out into light, and that he's never even spoke about before. So definitely very interesting here. Also here last week, the SEC files a motion to freeze crypto held by Binance US. So they basically seek a restraining order to freeze Binance US assets. They don't want Binance US being able to move any of their assets by using that temporary restraining order. So I don't know. They've definitely been very, very aggressive specifically against Binance here. And of course, he attacked Coinbase as well on Tuesday when they revealed their lawsuit against Coinbase. But Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong is confident in the impending court battle with the SEC. And Brian Armstrong went on a few different networks, did a few different interviews last week, speaking about this and speaking about how they've met with the SEC over, I think he said over 20 times, trying to get more and more clarifications, more clear guidelines so that they could be compliant with the SEC. And they got silence from the SEC the entire time. They didn't get anything back from them. Also, he said that the SEC, went over all their stuff before allowing them to IPO back in 2021. So if now the SEC is coming back and saying that since 2019 they've been selling securities, like, it doesn't even make sense. That means that the SEC didn't do its due diligence when they allowed them to go into IPO. So it just, a lot of it doesn't make sense, right? It doesn't make sense. But Armstrong said that he's happy to finally take the SEC to court and, to finally get some clarity on guidelines for crypto. There's no path to come in and register. They simply, they reject most of the assets. They reject everybody that comes to, looking for clarity or whatever. So there's a lot going on here. A lot of it doesn't make sense. A lot of it is just contradicting. But Armstrong is definitely very confident in taking the SEC to court. And they said that they're going to fight, the full thing out. They're going to fight it out. They're not going to sit down. They're not going to lay down, roll over for the SEC or anything like that. They have the funds to do it as one of the biggest crypto exchanges in crypto, right, in the space. And they're an IPO'd company. So they definitely have the funds to fight back. So that's going to be probably a big, long battle, I expect there. And other than that, Coinbase was issued a show cause notice by 10 U.S. states. Those states are Illinois, Vermont, Alabama, Kentucky, California, Maryland, Wisconsin, Washington, New Jersey, and South Carolina. And this happened the same day that the lawsuit came out, right, against Coinbase. So that means that this was planned out, because how does this all happen so fast on the same day? So basically, those states issued a cease and desist order for the sale of unregistered security. So again, this is going to be definitely big overall for the crypto space. But I think at the end of it, hopefully, and hopefully, we're going to get clarity. We're going to get some clear regulations for the space for cryptocurrencies, because right now, by the SEC doing all of this, they're pushing crypto companies out of the US. They're pushing innovation in cryptocurrency out of the US, and they're falling. The US is gonna fall behind point blank, because cryptocurrency is not going anywhere. So you either adapt and learn to live with it, and make it part of what's going on, or you're gonna get left behind. So and as we can see, the US dollar is falling, and there's already a bunch of other countries starting their own currencies or trading in different currencies now. So the US dollar is definitely getting weak. It might soon no longer be the world currency, right? It might move to something else, and that something else could even be a cryptocurrency. So I don't know. We got to see. As you can see in this report here, over 50% of Bitcoin on exchanges have moved outside the US due to regulatory uncertainty. So, and this is not just, 50% of Bitcoin, but also Coinbase is opening things in international, right? They're opening up an international thing for them. And now there's other cryptocurrency companies going international. So it's leaving the US, and this is bad for the US overall. So now that we have covered all of that, I'm gonna take a sip of water here. I'm gonna look over to see what's going on with you guys. We have a few people in here right now. What's going on? Sing. He said, "What's up, man? After a long time, we have 100 deaths. Howdy, partners. How you doing? If you guys are in here, make sure to say hi. Drop a hi in the comments, and don't forget, I'm going to do a market analysis on Bitcoin, and then I'm gonna do a live Q&A. So if you guys have any questions about either anything going on right now in the market, anything that I've covered already or I'm about to cover, drop it in the comments. I'm more than happy to answer those for you guys." Let me drink some water, and then we will continue here with the Bitcoin market analysis. So I have my big thing of water here. I've been trying to drink as much water as possible lately. I'm supposed to drink apparently 83 ounces of water per day for my body weight. I've been around 50 ounces though. Is pretty much where I've been. So let's see if I can hit a new all-time high today. All right, so let's pull up here the charts. And we can see Bitcoin really hasn't moved since we started the live stream here today. It's pretty much sitting at the same spot, pretty much down about 0.5% on the day. Let's take a look here. Let's see what could potentially happen here. What I'm looking at here for this upcoming week, what levels I'm going to be watching, and how I'm going to look to play it this week, right? I definitely expect volume and volatility to come into the market this week, and I'm gonna look to take advantage of it regardless in which direction it goes. So let's start off with the weekly, and we spoke about this already in the beginning of the show. There was a big 200 weekly moving average that we recently just lost. And if we go to a different chart here that charts back a lot further, let's take a look at this one right here. You could ignore all the other things. The only thing we're focusing here on is the blue line. We can see that blue line has acted as a support for Bitcoin for many, many years, going all the way back to 2015. That's the first time that in 2015 where that 200-week moving average played as a support there. You can see that we bounced there during the bear market, and then began the bull market. Then once again in 2018, we bounced on it during the bear market. It's pushed up for a new bull market. During COVID, during the whole COVID thing back in 2020, once again, we had a huge dump off right down to that 200-week moving average. We bounced there and continued up, set up new all-time highs during that next bull market. And then what happened this bear market? For the first time ever, we lost that 200-week moving average, right? We lost it here. When we lost it, we dropped down to about $15,000. And then we've slowly fought our way back this year, basically, right? Starting in January, really, if you look at it here. We set those lows back in November, December, and in January is when we really started that move back up. Since January, we fought long and hard. You can see that we tested it here for the first time back in February. And then we finally broke above it in March for the first time, right? And that was the first time we're back above that since August of 2022. So now, what's happened here? We have returned to retest it. And now, as far as last week, we closed below this once again, below that 200-week moving average. So what happens now is, well, we don't have that big support there anymore. Now, does that mean that we can't break above it? No, but it could potentially now be a resistance, and that price is currently at around $26,500. So that's going to be a resistance now if we get a big a move back to the upside, right? Now, if we go back to my other chart here, we're gonna see the main resistance and support areas that I have here, and that's going to be the main resistance right now for us is going to be above $29,000 basically. So anywhere between 29 to 31,000. If Bitcoin's price gets to that level, there's going to be a lot of selling there. So we're going to need a lot of volume to break above that. So so that's the first point of interest, right? Then we drop down to where we currently are right now. We can see that the big support that's now going to be set up as a resistance area is between basically 27,000 up to about 28,000, right? That was a big support there. We've been there using that as support since March of this year. And we've lost that support for the first time since March of this year. So if this week or sometime soon we don't regain that support, and that's basically above that 26,700 range, if we don't get back above that, that's going to be another resistance now, right? That's a support flips into resistance. And that could push us back down to that next support level, which I have drawn out here. And that's going to be in that $24,000 range. So we're already at 25. So that next support is going to be $24,000. And if we were to lose that, then the next main big support is going to be sitting at $20,000. So those are the main supports and resistances that I'm watching and looking at right now. Let's zoom in a bit here to the daily time frame now, and you can see a clearer picture on what's going on day to day. You know, how the price has been rejected at these resistance levels, how it's bounced at these supports, and now it looks like we've lost this support here. So the next point of interest for support is potentially down here. This is at $24,000 range. We also have the 200-day moving average that's sitting around 23,500. So there is support here to the downside, but you know, a lot of this is going to be which way we're gonna go is going to be decided in the next 2 days, and that's pretty much what I'm looking for, what I'm waiting for, and what I believe right now. Depending what happens these next 2 days is how the market, you know, which way we're gonna go. If we're gonna drop down to that 24,000 level, or if we're gonna drop back up and above and possibly retest this resistance level up here at 30,000. Depending what happens in these next 2 days is going to pretty much be how the rest of the month probably goes. We saw that last month when CPI data came out during the CPI week. Remember, we had it was a red week, the first time in all year that during CPI it was red. And we saw the rest of the month basically went the same, right? We ended that month, let's see how that month ended. We ended that month down 6.93%, basically down 7%. This month so far, we're down 5% already, 5.2%. Depending how these next 2 days go, is probably going to, you know, is going to direct us which way we're going to end the month. So if CPI data tomorrow comes out at or better than consensus, I expect prices here to begin to push back up, right? And I'm not gonna say that is gonna be a full out run up because we still have uncertainty for Wednesday, right? Wednesday we have the interest rate decision. So I think if inflation data comes out at where expected or better than expected, better than consensus, we push back up into this green zone, right? That's between 27,000. And then if on Wednesday we do get the pause, then we can potentially push up even higher, maybe back into that $28,000 range. And that could set us up for the rest of the month where we could potentially, move and, retest maybe these higher resistance ranges up here, $29,000 to $31,000. Now, I'm not saying we're going to go directly up to that because there's still so much happening in the crypto space right now with the SEC being so aggressive and targeting crypto so aggressively right now. So that's the main things that we're watching for the next 2 days and pretty much for the rest of this week. I think if we get bullish news tomorrow and Wednesday, we will definitely end this week green, and we will most likely end the month green. So remember, the month opened up. It opened up at, open was at 27,210. So I think if the next 2 days, depending what happens in the next 2 days, if it's bullish, we should close the month above that 27,210, potentially up in that $28,000 range. However, if the next 2 days we get bearish news, results as far as CPI data, as far as the interest rates, then we're gonna for sure retest the $24,000 range. That's a given, right? 100%. We will drop down at least to a minimum of 24,000. We'll flush out all these lows here, and we're gonna set new lows. And potentially throughout the rest of the month, we could even see a further pullback here and continue down lower. So that's what I'm saying. A lot of this is going to ride on what happens these next 2 days. Now remember, we've been speaking about a pullback and correction and consolidation for the last few months. And we first spoke about this, and the reason why was because if you pull up the RSI, we showed you guys the bearish divergence, right? So we've spoke about this. You could go back on the show for the last few months, anytime we've done the show, and we have spoke about this. We've seen this bearish divergence since we topped out here back in April, and we were speaking about this, right? Because the price was setting up higher highs while momentum was setting up lower lows. So when those two things don't agree with each other, there's either one, a long period of consolidation, which we have definitely gotten here, right? We've gotten lots of consolidation over the last, 2 to 3 months. And there's a pullback, right? And once again, we've seen a big pullback here. It hasn't been a huge pullback, but nonetheless, we've gotten this pullback. So from that high to where we currently are right now, that's a 17% pullback, right? So we've dropped 17% since we marked that high, and since we've been speaking about, potential consolidation, potential pullbacks, et cetera, because of this bearish divergence. And if you go back in time, let me see if this chart shows it. Anytime we've had similar situations, looking back over here, if we look back in during the last bull market, where we were doing the same thing, prices were setting up higher highs, RSI was setting up lower lows, we had a 51% drop during that time. And this is during a bull market, right? We had a 51% drop during that time. Now, this, of course, a lot of things happened during that time, right? In May of 2021, I think China banned Bitcoin again. I think Tesla stopped accepting Bitcoin. There's all the talk about, Bitcoin mining, taking up too much energy, not being green, et cetera, et cetera. So there were more things than just the technicals on this. But it all kind of played a part together, right? And we're seeing something similar here. It's not just going to be the technicals. Yes, the technicals have been showing a bearish move for the past probably two months or so. You can really go all the way back to March, or even all the way back to February, when there was just a big drop off there in momentum versus price was set up a new high. But right now with this bearish divergence, plus the news about the SEC, plus the tokens being sued, exchanges being sued, like all these things going on, they're just kind of creating that perfect storm where we could see further pullbacks, right? So not saying that we're gonna drop 51% from that high, because that'll put us right back at the lows that we tested, the yearly lows, right? Or at the lows of this bear market. I don't think we go back to 15,000. Like if I had to put my money on it, I would say that no, we don't. We don't retest these bear market lows, and I would also say that I do believe that the bottom is in for the bear market, but it doesn't mean that's a 100% thing, right? I'm just, from what I've seen, from my experience, from what I'm looking at, I don't think that's something that'll happen. Doesn't mean it won't happen, right? I could definitely be wrong. So just kind of giving you guys an idea there. So we're kind of over the time. I'm over the hour. The way I'm looking to play it, let me end it with that this week. If I see that we get some movement to the upside, I'm definitely looking for a long, potentially above 26-ish. I probably want to be above this number here. That's at 26,210. So probably maybe above 26,210. Open up a long. Now, if I do open up a long here, we're going to need some space, some room for the volatility. So that's the other thing, right? So, it's you do want to like open up a long at the current price, because the risk is less here right now. Like if we were to open up a long right now, we can just kind of put, our stop loss below the low, right? Which would be 23,300. Let's say we put our stop loss below 23,300. We can make our targets. That's what the risk there would be, about $500 or so. So our first target has to be at least we at least want a 1-to-1 on our first target. So $500 from here. So that's 7, 8. Well, let's say that we enter at 800, right? 8, 9, 10, 1, 2, 3. So it's 26,300. Could we hit that? Yeah, I mean, we can. We haven't hit it in a few days since Saturday. We haven't seen that since Saturday, but we can definitely see it. We saw on Tuesday how we ran up from where do we open? 25,720. Basically the same exact position where we're at now, and we ran up to a high of 27,363. So you know, we can definitely see something like that happening. Now, my issue with opening a position here is that we're kind of in no man's land, right? And with the news coming out tomorrow, you know, we could go in either direction. I don't know. That's why when I'm unsure, when I'm like feeling the way I'm feeling right now, saying I don't know about opening up a position here, then it's usually best for me not to open up a position there, right? So I want to see some momentum and volume come in and push price up higher. So I want to see it at a minimum above yesterday's price, which was 26,210. So at a minimum, I want to see it above that. Ideally, I want to see it probably back above the 200-week moving average, which is sitting around 26,500. So that's probably around the range that I'm looking for to open a long position here. If I think that, you know, we do continue moving up. Now to the downside, basically if we lose 25,000, I'm going to open up a short. So I have short positions set up. I'm going to be setting them up below 25,000. If we lose 25, there's a big chance that we just kind of drop all the way down to 24. So I think that's a potentially good trade to take there on the short side. And then if you don't want to open up a position right here, right now to the long side, you could potentially look for something above 27,000. The issue at 27,000 is that now it's getting to that extended area, right? You can see here when we had that big move up at 27,000 is pretty much where we stalled. So yeah, that's pretty much, you know, you could open a position right now, stop loss below 25.3, below the recent low. You know, your first TP, your first target has to be at least 1-to-1 to your stop loss, right? So that would put you at around 26,300. So now you're looking, all right, can we hit 26,300? Yeah, we definitely could, depending on the news tomorrow. So not a bad trade to take. I'm probably not taking it, but not a bad trade to take because, you know, you're going to be playing the news basically at that point. So depending on how the news comes out, you're either going to hit or miss that trade just based on that. So if you want to play the news, you can do that. Just, you know, just kind of set it up, know where you're getting in, know where you're getting out if you're wrong. And, you know, it's not a bad risk to reward there. Because if you're right, I'm sure price is going to fly at least to 27,000. And you can take your first profits at least at 26.3 and then kind of, you know, slowly take out profits on the way up. I'm sure we hit at least $27,000 with bullish news tomorrow. All right. Let's jump into some Q&A, guys. So we've gone over prices, what's going on all over the market. We've talked about the news, everything that's been happening over the last week. We also did an analysis on Bitcoin's price, where things might be going based on news, looking at major support and resistance areas. Now I'm gonna take some Q&A here. Let me look here at the comments. DD said, are those outs considered dead now? No, definitely not. You know, just like XRP right now is in a case against SEC, and they've been fighting against SEC for the last few years. So right now, it's something that, the price might go down lower for those projects that were listed as potentially securities, right? And they might get stuck, kind of like XRP, where it's been stuck for a few years in that same price range as it's been fighting against the SEC. That could definitely happen. However, at this point, I'm using these prices and these drop offs down, down 20 to 30% to add more to my long term bags. So if you're building up positions for long term, should be on spot, like you should just be buying and leaving it for at least a minimum of the next 1 to 2 years, right? If you're looking for quick profits, then I wouldn't recommend buying at this point. I'd say, yeah, if you're in it for the long term and you don't need that money, you're fine just putting it somewhere, letting it sit for the next 2 years. I think now's a great opportunity. I think there's a big overreaction right now, and I think crypto will prevail. So yeah, I think long term, I'm still bullish on all those cryptos. Not all the cryptos that they mentioned, but the main three. Solana, Cardano, and Matic. I'm bullish on those three. I'm definitely adding to my bags right now. They're down 90% from all-time highs. They're down 20 to 30% in the last few days. I am buying. I already bought last week. I bought last week 3 times. I'm buying this week again if they go down any further. So again, DCA, dollar cost average, is the best way to do that. Don't just do a lump sum. Just buy a little bit at a time, even if it's like $20. Anytime it goes down, a few percent, $20 every time it drops a percent, right? Or something like that. You can build your own, however you want to set it up. Just make a plan around it. Make sure you're building for the long term and not for next month, next week, whatever the case may be. I think now, and from my previous experience, remember guys, I've been in it since 2016. I made the most money in crypto, not during the bull market, but during the bear market. All right, and the way I made the most money was by buying when everybody was afraid, buying the fear, buying the blood, and building up those positions for very, very cheap, right? I remember during the last bear market, Ethereum was trading under $100 at one point, right? Like that was perfect time to buy. That was an easy 10, 20, 30, 40x during the last bull run. So I think we're gonna see similar things, right? And that's happened to me in the last. I've gone through 2 bear markets now. At this point, this is my 3rd bear market. I'm doing the same exact thing. During the bear market is when you have all that fiat that you should have taken profit from during the bull market. In the bear market is where you just throw money in, throw it every week. You have to set up a weekly budget, put money in every week, buy your favorite projects that you believe in, that have utility, that have a use case, that you believe is going to be around for the next 5-10 years. You buy those up. And then when the bull market comes around, that's when you're starting to take profits. The same way you're buying weekly during the bear market, you're taking profits weekly during the bull market. And that's how you build back up your fiat, right? You build back up that cash reserve. And then by the end of the bull market, you should mostly at that point be in cash. And then you just kind of sit back, wait for prices to drop. Once you see that they drop over 50%, you start throwing money back in slowly, right? Little by little. And you just do that over and over and over. As long as the cycles remain the same, you just keep doing that over and over and over. And that's how you multiply your funds, right? I started with $800. $800 became, $20,000, $30,000 my first bear to bull market. Then that $20,000, $30,000 became $100,000, $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 during my second bear to bull market. And then you just kind of keep doing that. You keep multiplying that money. And as long as you do that strategically the right way, and you don't need to be an insane trader and know how to trade, know how to day trade or anything. You just gotta understand the fundamentals and how the macro how it moves overall with the rest of the economy, the rest of the market with its cycles. So as long as you understand those things, then you can definitely continue to multiply your funds. So hopefully that answered your question. I was kind of long-winded, but hopefully it gave you kind of what you were looking for there. The next question is, hi, since Bitcoin dominance is increasing, any possibility of moving towards 35K? So let's take a look here at Bitcoin dominance so that everyone can see what he's talking about. And if we look all the way back here, we look at it in the weekly, we can see that we just set up a new high. This is the highest the Bitcoin dominance has been since May of 2021. So in 2 years, this is the highest that Bitcoin's dominance has been, right? So what does that mean? What exactly does that mean? So Bitcoin dominance, if you don't know what it means, is the amount of money in crypto, right? Out of all the money in crypto, how much of it is in Bitcoin? And that's simply as simple as I can explain and describe what Bitcoin dominance is. So if Bitcoin dominance is at 49, that means that 49% of all the funds in crypto are in Bitcoin, right? Hopefully that makes sense. So what's been happening here, and the reason that in the last week Bitcoin dominance went from opening at 47.5% to a high of where we're at right now, 49.19%, is because people are afraid of altcoins right now, and what's been happening with altcoins. So they're taking their money. Anyone that had money in altcoins, not anyone, but a lot of people that had money in altcoins have decided to sell their altcoins and move their funds into Bitcoin because they feel that Bitcoin is safer as of this moment right now. So that's basically what that play is, and that's mostly people with more money are moving funds into Bitcoin rather than keeping it in altcoins just to be safer. So and I've spoke about this a little bit before. The more money you have, the bigger your portfolio is, then the more you have to shift your mindset from just making profits to preserving capital, right? So if you have $1 million, the most important thing for your portfolio is to preserve your capital. Your risk has to drop significantly, and you have to be in safer things, right? So where your risk is not as high. So altcoins, risk is always going to be higher, reward is always going to be higher. So if you have $1,000, if you have $1,000, I would even recommend you want to take more risk, because $1,000, if you lose it, of course, it's going to hurt, but it's not life-changing type of hurt. Do you know what I mean? If you lose $1,000, it's not as bad as losing $1 million, right? Anyone can make $1,000 in a month doing basically anything, right? You can go and cut a bunch of yards for the next 30 days straight. Just go door to door knocking, asking people if you can cut their yard for $20, and you can make $1,000 in a month, right? But you can't just go and do the same thing and make $1 million in a month, right? So that's why it's different, right? So when you have less money, you want to take on more risk. When you have more money, you want to take on less risk. So that's why you'll see a lot of times funds move into Bitcoin, because the bigger players they put their funds in Bitcoin since it's safer overall. So that's kind of what we're seeing here. Bitcoin is going to be safer, so more Bitcoin dominance is going to happen here. Also, the reason why they're putting money into Bitcoin, because SEC has stated that everything is a security except Bitcoin. So that's another reason why. Can it go to 35,000 was the next part of your question there. Can it run? I mean, of course, right? At the end of the day, Bitcoin does the unthinkable, right? It goes on runs that no one thinks is possible. Now, can it go because of its dominance moving up? Now remember, if the dominance moves up but prices fall down, doesn't mean that price of Bitcoin is going to go up. If we pull up the dominance chart, Bitcoin dominance chart, just I want to. It's easier to show you guys. All right, here we go. So we can see here, if Bitcoin's dominance goes up, but Bitcoin's price goes down, altcoins dump, right? That's exactly what's happening right now. Bitcoin dominance is going up, Bitcoin price is going down, but altcoins are dumping hard, right? Now, why is that? That's because Bitcoin's price is dropping, right? And even with the drop of Bitcoin's price, its dominance is going up. So that means that money is flowing out of altcoins into Bitcoin, or just out of the market overall, and money is not flowing into altcoins. That's basically what that means. Bitcoin's going down, and it's taking any money that's in the market is staying in Bitcoin, or they're putting it in Bitcoin. That's why alts are dumping. Now, if Bitcoin's dominance goes up and Bitcoin's price goes up, altcoins also go down, because majority of the money is flowing into Bitcoin. If majority of money is flowing into Bitcoin, the dominance is going to go up, altcoins are going to go down. So that's basically what we're seeing right now. So just because its dominance goes up doesn't mean that price goes up, right? It doesn't have to go up because the dominance goes up. I think dominance, just because its dominance is going up, doesn't mean its price is going to go up to 35,000. I think we stay in the same range that we're currently at right now. If, let's say, in the scenario that we get very bullish news these next 2 days, I think we're still going to be running into a lot of resistance, starting at 28,000 and up to 29 to 31,000. That's going to be a big range of resistance still there. I don't think just because we get good, let's say we get the most bullish news ever the next 2 days, I still don't know if we can break above $30,000 unless we get even more bullish news, right? Because even from current prices right now, let's see, if we were to move from current prices to let's say 29,000, that's about a 12.5% move. And then to get to the 31,000, which is the high that we set up last time, that's a 20% move. Can it happen? Of course it can. Bitcoin has done this a bunch of times. But, you know, $35,000, that's a 36% move. What would be needed in crypto to see a 35% move that fast? First of all, it would start with this week getting bullish news from CPI and interest rates. Then we probably also need bullish news from XRP versus SEC, and bullish news from Coinbase and Binance versus SEC. I think if all those things happens, which I don't think we're gonna see all of that this month, then we could see a move up to $35,000, which would also be a 35% move. I don't think we see that yet. I don't think we're there yet. I think first we have to really get past this $30,000 move. I think even after we get past 30,000, we'll probably return. We'll probably get stuck at 32 and pull back and test this several times as a resistance. I mean, as a support before being able to continue up to that 35 to 36, $37,000 range. So that's pretty much the way I see it right now. You know, I don't think we're gonna just jump $10,000 solely on the fact that Bitcoin dominance is going up. Bitcoin dominance doesn't mean price is gonna go up, or it's not an indicator for a move coming or a jump in price coming or anything like that. So if anything, Bitcoin dominance is a bigger signal for altcoins, is what I would say. All right. We got one last question. We've been live for an hour and a half, so we're way above where what we usually do at 1 hour. The last question here is, I'm hearing about a potential further 80% drop in the price of many altcoins. Potential for this or just FUD? Well, anytime I see anything like that, we're saying, ridiculous numbers like 80%. That's right off the bat. That's FUD, right? Why would it be 80%, like such a specific number? Most of these coins are already down about 80 to 90%. So why would we drop another 80%? I don't think so. In order for that to happen, Bitcoin would also have to drop basically at least at minimum another 40 to 50%. Can that happen? It can if we were to get a lot of bearish news. If we have bad CPI data tomorrow, we have a rate hike on Wednesday. If SEC wins the case against XRP, they win their case against Coinbase, against Binance. Like, those are the things that would need to all happen. It would have to be a perfect storm for Bitcoin to drop back to new lows. Remember, we hit this low here. This low right here, when was this low set? When did we get this big candle of minus 22%? That's when the FTX collapsed, right? FTX collapsed. Then we saw BlockFi collapse, Voyager collapse, all these other things collapse. That's when we got this huge red candle that we got here for Bitcoin. Similar red candles in altcoins. Right, so that was a huge event. So we would need something just as big here in order to see another 80% drop in altcoins, I think. Definitely SEC announcing that all these coins are securities are definitely a big deal, but that's not a big enough deal to drop coins another 80%. In order for them to drop another 80%, they would have to win cases against those coins. So if they won a case against XRP, which is not looking like so far, it's looking like they're losing, right? And this is coming from lawyers, not from me. I've read and watched reports from lawyers, and they're all saying that XRP is winning, and that's why the SEC keeps redacting information, and they're trying to seal documents, and they're trying to continue expanding and delaying the court case so that it costs more and more and more money and because they're trying to find something. They don't have anything yet. If they had anything, they would have won the case against XRP already. But because they don't have anything, they have to keep, using all these dirty tactics basically to buy themselves more time as they're trying to, to figure out how can they win this case. I don't think they win the case against XRP. I think it ends up in a settlement, right? And part of that settlement is going to be that XRP is not a security. And if XRP is not a security, then pretty much no other coin will ever be deemed a security at that point, as long as it's anything similar to XRP. So that would be very, very bullish for XRP and all altcoins. Now, in the case that, XRP did lose its case versus the SEC, then that's a whole different story. Then we can see another 80% drop because now XRP is going to be considered a security. And now all these other coins that they're going after could also be looked at as a security, and they could look back on this case and be like, XRP was a security and it did this, and that. These coins do the same thing as XRP, so they are also securities, and that's it. It's going to be that simple to win a case. So if that happens, yeah, we can see another 80% drop from current prices. I don't think that's going to happen though, because if it was going to happen, I feel like it would have already happened, right? So and again, it's not financial advice, just my opinions from what I've been researching, reading, watching from lawyers that are experts in this field. And it looks like they're just delaying the inevitable. There we go, inevitable. They're delaying the inevitable. That's going to be eventually, it's going to be a settlement. XRP will probably have to take a slap on the wrist, pay a fine, but not be deemed a security, which is the main thing in the case. And with that, I'm going to wrap things up, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. For everybody that tuned in, I know it's been a lot longer than usual, hour and a half today. But I appreciate you guys. I'll be doing this again next week on Monday. Hopefully back with the co-host. And yeah, I hope you guys aren't tired of hearing my voice already for the last hour and a half. But again, thank you guys. I am planning to soon put this on podcast. I want to start turning these live streams into podcasts. I think that'll be pretty cool. Get more reach and get something new. And for people, those that don't have time to watch this live or on YouTube or whatever the case may be, they also have access to it. I think we put out a lot of good information here that could benefit people and that could benefit more people if we can reach them. So that's the next step for this live stream. So we're going to continue to do Let's Talk Crypto weekly, and maybe hopefully we get to the point where we do this multiple times a week. I think that'll be fun to do as well. But appreciate you guys, especially everybody that asked the questions and wrote in the comments here. Rodrigo, Didi, Ravi, Ducky Dave, Rodrigo. Appreciate you guys. Much respect. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Be here again next Monday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And good luck this week, guys. Tuesday and Wednesday is going to be a wild week. So if you guys want to know everything that I'm doing personally, I share all my moves, all my trades, all my thoughts, all my opinions, my perspectives on a day-to-day basis on Discord. So the link of that is in the description below. And that's pretty much it, guys. I'll see you on the next one. As always, peace and love.